9.6 is all about solving rational equations. As a quick little warm-up, here's three rational equations that are probably familiar to you, or at least you should be able to solve these. These are proportions, fractions, or rational expressions that are equal to each other. That's a proportion. So take a minute, solve these three proportions, and we'll check back in just a minute. All right, so hopefully you got these solved. And if I had to guess, I bet you solved this by using cross multiplication, where you cross multiplied. You did 5x is equal to 12, x is equal to 12 fifths. Right? I'm going to show you another way. The thing that people don't like about equations like this is that it's a fraction. So what if we could unfractionize this? Now, in order to unfractionize things, most of the time you multiply by the denominator. But since this has a different denominators in each one, we need to multiply by a common denominator. Now, 3 and 15, what would be a common denominator that, 3 and 5, what would be a common denominator that they could get? I said it, it's 15. So here's what's going to happen. Instead of cross multiplying, I'm going to multiply everything, or both sides, essentially, by 15. Since it's an equation and I do the same thing on both sides, this is fair game. So 15 times x divided by 3, 15 divided by 3 is 5x equals 4 fifths times 15, 15 divided by 5 is 3, 4 times 3 is 12, x is equal to 12 divided by 5. All right, turns out to be the same answer, it's just another way to solve this. Number 2. If I was to multiply by the common denominator, what would be the combinator between 9 and x? 9x. Right? So we multiply both sides by 9x. That's 9x divided by 1, essentially here. So on this side, the x's would cancel. 9 times 3 is 27. Equals. On this side, the 9's would cancel. X times x is x squared. In order to unsquare, you square roots. And if you use the square root to solve, don't forget your plus or minus. Plus or minus 3 root 3 is equal to x. All right, now in this case, the denominator is x plus 7, x plus 5 and 7. So the common denominator would be 7 times x plus 5. So that's what we're going to multiply both sides by. 7 times x plus 5. 7 times x plus 5. X plus 5 cancel. 7 times 2, 14 equals, the 7's cancel, 3x plus 15. Subtract 15, negative 1. X is negative 1/3. All right. So here's the thing. For these problems, cross multiplying works. I'm sure that y'all got these three answers. But when it gets a little bit more sticky, like on number 4, this is when the method of multiplying by the common denominator would work. In number 4, this isn't a proportion. A proportion is fraction equals a fraction. Here I got fraction minus fraction is equal to a fraction. So let's cross multiply. Oh wait, excuse me, not cross multiply, but multiply by the common denominator. Our denominators are x, 2, and x. So our common denominator is just going to be 2x. Now here's the thing, just like before, you have to multiply everything by 2x, even this 1/2 thing. So 2x times 3 divided by x would be 6 minus, now 1/2 times 2x would be minus x equals, here the x's would cancel, 24. Bring the x to this side, subtract the 24, x is equal to negative 18. How could you check your answer? Plug it back in. All right, number 5. There's actually a typo, y'all. All right, first of all, number 5's got a typo. I want this to be x plus 1. Little typo there. So, in order to solve this fraction's freaking me out. If we multiply by the common denominator, everything will take us to one level. So what would be the common denominator here? We got x plus 1. This is 4 divided by 1, so that's anything we want it to be, really. And x plus 1. So this one's easy. Our common denominator is going to be x plus 1. So you multiply la-di-da-di everybody by x plus 1. So what happens here? X plus 1 times this, the x plus 1s will cancel. Right? If I multiply it to this one, x plus 1s cancel, I'm left with just 5x. Multiply this to this one, you get equals 4. Nothing cancels, so it's 4 times x plus 1. Minus, you multiply it to this thing, the x plus 1s cancel here, so you're left with just 5. Alright, so now, distribute and solve. So we got 5x equals 4x plus 4 minus 5. Subtract the 4x, you get x equals 4 minus 5 is negative 1. So there's our answer. X is equal to negative 1. Alright, but here's the thing. You got to take your answer, plug it in to check to make sure that it works. Now look what happens here. 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. What's negative 5 divided by 0? What's anything divided by 0? Undefined, right? So what we have here is undefined equals 4 minus undefined. Does that make sense? No. So here's the thing. If it makes the denominator 0, it cannot be a solution. All right? So while it worked out for us to be x is equal to negative 1, that's actually an extraneous solution, and our final solution is no solution. All right? If it makes the denominator 0, it cannot be a solution. Oh. Let's do one more, number 6. Now look at number 6. One of the things that you can do is the bottom of this one can be changed to, we can factor to x plus 2, x minus 2. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And now if you look, our common denominator, this one is x minus 2, this one is x plus 2, x minus 2, and this is 1, so it's anything we really want, right? So our common denominator here is going to be, I'm going to multiply everything by x plus 2, x minus 2. That's our common denominator. So I multiply this times this, what happens? The x minus 2's cancel, and we're left with 3x minus 2 times x plus 2 equals, when I do this times this one, what happens? The x plus 2 and x minus 2 cancel, and we're left with just a 6. But when I multiply it by the 1, nothing cancels, and we're left with x plus 2, x minus 2. Alright, so now we got to get to solving. In order to solve this, we have to FOIL. So you got 3x squared plus 6x minus 2x minus 4 equals 6 plus, this factors to x squared minus 4. Now I got x squared and x's, so we're going to have half the factor, so get everything on one side. This is going to be 2x squared. 6x minus 2x is plus 4x. 6 minus 4 is 2. I'm going to subtract that to this side, so it'd be minus 6 equals 0. Alright, took all this stuff, got it to this side. Now let's factor. The first thing I look for is a GCF. They all have 2's in it, so 2 times the quantity of x squared plus 2x minus 3 equals 0. What multiplies a negative 3 and adds to 2? Well, it would be x plus 3 and x minus 1. And so our final answer here is x equals negative 3 and x is equal to 1. Now, we got to go back and check. Do either of these answers make the denominator 0? No, since neither of them make the denominator 0, these are both solutions. So here's what's up. I want you to try number 7 yourselves. We'll check that in class tomorrow. Smith out!